The first rule of entrepreneurship is you use what you have. Every self-made billionaire and millionaire was in the exact same position as you because they were self-made, which means that you have the same exact ingredients they had, which is nothing, but also nothing to lose. And that's the piece that I think anyone who starts out misses. If you lose it all, you're still at zero. You have unlimited shots on goal. It's like life gives you a lottery ticket and you're like, well, what if I lose? It's like, well, the lottery ticket's free and you can keep cashing it in until you win.
Alex has been absolutely taking the internet by storm. From opening gyms to launching software startups, Alex knows how to make any business worth $1 million.
Alex Hormozi, welcome back to the show.
Skills are the ultimate hedge against inflation. They're the hedge against currency changes. People are like, what's gonna happen to the dollar? Doctors are gonna get paid in seashells or Bitcoin or US dollars. It doesn't matter. If you have value to exchange, the world will exchange for it.
If someone only has a few $1,000s a year extra to spend on something, what's more important for them, to invest it in the stock market or real estate, or to invest in themselves?
You know where I'm going with this one. $30. And I was like, man, if my boss came to me at the beginning of the shift and said, hey, work a whole shift and I'll give you this t-shirt, I'd be like, nah, I don't want to do that. And so in thinking about how much time it took me to pay for things, all of a sudden a lot of stuff wasn't worth it. And so it shifted. So from my relationship with money is more like, what did it change about how I spent and bought? Sorry, how I spent and how I acted to make more. And so I've always been a saver in terms of I always lived below my means. The first rule of money is spend less than you make. First rule of money. Like, you don't need to listen to anything else. You don't need to do any investing. You don't need nothing else. The first rule of money is spend less than you make. The second rule of money is take what's left over and invest it in making more money. And I think the big piece, especially people who are starting out, miss out is that they expect that they're going to get rich as rich people get richer. And it's a different strategy. When you're starting out, you have to think about how you're going to make money while you're awake, not while you're asleep. The only reason that people who are really rich think about how to make money while they're asleep is because they've already maxed out their waking hours and they can't put more time into investments. And so they have to, by consequence, pick passive things to make money. But they already maxed out their active. Currently, you haven't maxed out your active, and the returns on active are significantly higher and lower risk than passive income opportunities. So for example, if I were in it's about to be wintertime in most of the US, if there's snow in the area that you're at, you could probably buy a push snowblower for a couple, I don't know what the rate of snowblower is, call it $1,000, right? And you could use a shovel in the beginning, and you might be able to do 2, maybe 3, big driveways in a day. Okay. If you have a snowblower, you might be able to do 20. And if you have that, then you just 7x your earning capacity. And so it's a small, like, what $1,000 stock is going to 7x your pay? Nothing.
Right.
And so I think people wildly undervalue the active investments where you put a little bit of capital and a lot of time, and how much that capital multiplies what you make with your time. And so that's obviously in the physical labor where you have a machine that helps you out. But even on knowledge-based work, one of the highest leverage things I did is I paid a guy who knew how to run Facebook ads. I didn't know how to run them. I had a gym. I knew it okay because I'd looked online and stuff, but I was like, I need to get better at this. And so I went to 3 different agency owners, and they all pitched me their services. And I said, honestly, I couldn't afford it. And so I said, what would it take for you? And this is the question. What would it take for you to teach me how to run ads? And I was like, I'll pay you every hour. He's like, I don't sell my time. And I was like, it's America. Everybody sells their time.
Yeah, how much?
Yeah, exactly. What would it take? And he said $750 an hour, which to me was an unbelievable amount of money at the time. And so I said, okay, deal. And I said, but the terms are, I have to have my hands on the computer, not you.
Yeah.
And you need to tell me what to do, and then I have to do it. And then if you change something, I need to understand the decision making behind it.
Why you did that.
Exactly. And so it took me 8 sessions with this guy. 8 1-hour sessions.
But it's cheaper than hiring him for 2 months.
Totally. Oh, he asked for $5,000 a month, and I was like, oh my God, I can't afford that. But every time I would do it, and then I would record it, and then I'd rewatch it a couple of times. I would take notes, and then the next one, I was like the best student ever, right? But by the 6th time I got it, and by the 8th time, I was like, I don't need this guy anymore. I get it. And so that $6,000 investment made me millions of dollars in my life because I knew how to advertise, and I didn't know how to advertise before. I could get leads, I could, and I could call them and close them, bring them to my gyms, and then eventually I showed other gyms how to do the same thing that I did. And so this is the leverage, right? How do you get more for what you put in?
Yes.
And the biggest and best investment that you can make is in your own skill set, because skills are the ultimate hedge against inflation. They're the hedge against currency changes. People are like, what's going to happen to the dollar? Doctors are going to get paid in Seychelles or Bitcoin or US dollars. It doesn't matter. If you have value to exchange, the world will exchange for it.
Yes.
And so that's the big thing that I think people who are starting out miss.
What's the number one skill that people should be investing in to earn more?
Promotion. You need to learn to advertise. So if you think about it in sequence, right? If you start a business, what are the contingencies? If no one knows you exist, no one can buy your stuff. And so you have to first let people know you exist. So it begins with advertising. Now, advertising doesn't mean you have to run paid ads. I say advertise, I define that as letting people know about your stuff. And so you can let people know one-on-one via outreach. So you can DM, you can email, you can phone call, you can knock on doors, and all that's one-on-one. You can make content. You can post on public platforms. You can stand on the sidewalk and shout. It's one to many, right? And then the third way you can do is you can run ads. The fourth and kind of like secret or more advanced ways that you can use those to then go get somebody who already has that audience that you want. So you get an affiliate to then refer you business, and that's an amazing strategy. But in order to get in touch with those, you reach out one-on-one, you make content, or you run ads. So those are going to be the core things that you're going to be able to do. And so in the beginning, you have to do that to get the first interest. Now, I think where people make a mistake is they then double down on that at that stage. Oh, this worked, I should do more, which is a logical thing to think. But long term, the product is going to be the thing that's going to allow you to scale really, really big. Now, don't get me wrong. You can make a few $1 million a year, $10 million a year being a really good marketer, being a really good promoter. You get limited at a certain point because you burn through a marketplace because people understand the concept of word of mouth. They're like, yeah, you want to have word of mouth. But what they fail to realize is that negative word of mouth is significantly stronger and more viral. And so all of a sudden, when their advertising stops working, or their cost to acquire customers doubles and triples, but the cost on the platform hasn't doubled or tripled, it means that you have an invisible hand that's suppressing your results, which is that somebody who would have bought heard that you're not good, or heard that you're even mediocre, and just decides not to. And we do this all the time. Like you're like, I was thinking about checking out that rrestaurant. It's like, I went, it was, and that's it. It's done. Just like that. And you would have gone if that person hadn't said anything.
Yes.
I was going to go to that movie. How was it? I mean, it was okay. Done. You're not going. Yeah, that's it. And so people overestimate, it's so hard to get positive word of mouth, and it's so easy to get negative word of mouth. And that's what suppresses you long term. So in the beginning, you advertise, then you maintain that level of advertising to continue to iterate the product, because you need to get the people in. And this is the unfortunate part, but you bring people in knowing your product's not that good, and you just do the best you can, and you keep making it better and better and better until you get people to stick. Or get people to come back. And so if you have a membership business, it's obvious you want people to not cancel. If you have a consumable business, like if you sell coffee, you sell Coca-Cola, whatever it is, it's how reoccurring is the revenue. How likely does that person who buys your coffee come back again to buy coffee, whether it's a shop or it's a product, doesn't matter. And so once you know that people are coming back, it means you fix the product sufficiently that now you go back to the advertising, and then you double down, you go crazy on it.
If someone only has a few $1,000s a year extra to spend on something, what's more important for them, to invest it in the stock market or real estate, or to invest in themselves?
You know where I'm going with this one. So my favorite ism that I like is, don't invest in the S&P 500. It's invest in the S&Me 500.